So, ATLUS released a brand new trailer for Metaphor ReFantazio, which is great, but there's just one problem. Many are asking the question, okay, this looks cool, but what exactly is this game about? And well, I have a pretty good idea. Fragmented and brief as it may be, I've poured over everything possible to establish just what this royal tournament entails and uncover the story of Metaphor ReFantazio. But before that, if you're enjoying the Metaphor ReFantazio coverage, please leave a like. It tells the YouTube robot that controls my life I'm doing a great job. And if you're new around here and you don't want to miss a video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And with that, let's start the analysis. So, let's begin with a rough timeline of events. Now keep in mind, none of this is set in stone, but based on the information given in this trailer, we have a rough idea of how the opening hours of the game may play out. We start at least 10 years ago. The Prince of Acronia's kingdom lends our main character a strange book, which speaks of a utopian world, with radical ideas like a king you vote for, and skyscrapers, and a one tribe united towards a common goal. Crazy, out-of-this-world concepts. Our main character keeps this book with him, as sometime later, the prince is afflicted with a curse. Our main character is a member of the Elda tribe, an uncommon tribe with a unique ability to ride swords like a skateboard. But the religious leaders of the kingdom fear this tribe, and they have heavily persecuted them for the fear of their dark magics they seemingly possess. I guess when you really break it down, riding a skateboard sword is a radical form of magic, but I digress. For reasons unknown, this Elder boy is drafted into the kingdom's army and sent to defend the northern borders with a man named Stroll. We see the two currently do not possess archetype powers, and yet Stroll here casts fire magic at a human in an egg pierced with an arrow, called a Homo Oppo. It is at this fort that Stroll and the boy encounter another human. The boy awakens his archetype power, ripping what appears to be a parasite-like heart out of his breastplate and transforming. He returns from the battle to the grand capital, Trad, and wanders a vast desert with Gallica after he loses his way from the rest of the travelers, maybe due to a human invasion. He fights off wild hyenas and some tentacle monsters in the sands to eventually find his way to the capital. But it appears the king is in danger. Who could this vile villain be? In a rather refreshing fashion, we find out right away that a clergyman has betrayed the ruler, the perpetrator being this fair-haired man. A few days later, as the members of the clergy are announcing the king's death, a flash of light erupts from the grand cathedral, and we see the royal magic of the king firsthand, surprising the usurper. This magic comes in the form of the tyrant star and menacing dark rock floating above the kingdom, with a castle at its top. Based on the hornsman's expression, I have reason to believe that he did not account for this development. With no current prospects of a king, as the prince is currently under a decade-long curse, the star is summoned to find a replacement, and the royal tournament is held. At this point in time, it's not clear if the star itself says, hey, go find a king or I'm going to destroy everyone. Or this is a long forgotten tradition and it's like, oh yes, that giant star. Oh, I've read this in a book one time. We gotta have a vote, I guess. We see in the trailer other candidates being summoned and others in the background cheering them on as they all appear to be in their own flying contraptions to set out and win the crown. And our hero does the same, but he also wants to find a cure for his childhood friend. But it seems he's also running to be, the president at the same time, as later in the trailer we see him also campaigning right next to what appears to be the clergyman's, statues. It's kind of disrespectful. But to assist us on our campaign, we assemble a band of misfits and literally go on a campaign to run for president of this fantasy world. It's honestly great stuff and actually contextualizes the calendar system we saw in the game. You don't have all day to waste if you want to be the new king. You need to meet with your voters and prove you can make a difference using the campaign bus, which, speaking of, we get a better look at the Gauntlet Runner in this second trailer. It appears not to just to be an airbus, but our base of operations for our campaign, a location where we bond with our party members and even prepare meals. In one screenshot, we have Hulkenberg acting as our trainer, counting out our push-ups on the front deck, and in another scene at the same location, we share a bonfire chat with Juna, another follower who awakens the archetype power, thanks to our hero's assistance. And let's introduce the followers proper, because it is pretty clear to see they will have a big impact on the game. Thanks to all the additional info coming out, we know the backstory for at least the initial party, as well as the names of the supporting cast. First up, we have Stroll, who's been the boys' brother-in-arms for some time, assisting him taking down the human at the northern border. But would you believe he's actually royalty? If he came from royal blood, why is he fighting alongside a commoner? Heck, a member of a tribe that is vilified on the front lines. What circumstances led him down this path? Only time will tell what his backstory truly is. But we at least now know the Horn tribe of Metaphor's world are called the Clamar. Tribes, genealogy, and status appear to be a main focal point for ReFantazio's setting. So what insight would a former nobleman bring to the table? We also have Hulkenberg, who appears to be a seasoned fighter despite her young age, and a high-ranking member of the Prince's Guard. Sadly, it doesn't appear she did the perfect job, as the prince was placed under a curse, and she, understandably, is shaken up about this, carrying that feeling of failure everywhere she goes. The elf race of Metaphor's world are named the Rosaint tribe, and we see her using a cavalry archetype to attack a human with a synthesis move, which results in a flashy cutscene. Gallica, our pixie companion, also gets an entry, but sadly, while other Metaphor's tribes get unique names, Gallica's just a pixie. It seems a bit unfair, but we do know she has a secondary purpose, though. Other than just being a navigator, the official website tells us she has an affinity for sensing a material known as magla, or mag for short, which we mistakenly suspected would be magnetite based on the previous reveal trailer. Hizme belongs to the Egif tribe, a people who are very perceptive to sound, no doubt due to their large bat-like ears, but due to them looking so different than the other tribes, like the Elda people, they are often subjugated to prejudice. We also get a better look at a winged angel tribe, in the form of the NPCs, our gauntlet rudder pilot having visible wings, who we now know as Nuris, and a young girl who we form a bond with, named Maria. The pink beast woman also had her name revealed, and it's Catherine, a fitting name given Studio Zero's first venture, and the Triclops companion is named Yufa. There also appears to be a new character in the scene where the boy is fleeing the Nord mines. We see an NPC with this eye patch, an old man who is either a supporting character or perhaps a party member, with pointed ears and face markings. He and the clergyman and that very angry royal could in fact share a tribe, if these face marks are genetic. And our last confirmed party member for now is a beast man named Basilio. Since the reveal, we've seen some humanoids with dog-like proportions, so we finally have a name for the well-dressed beast man we saw in Trailer 1. As for the themes of the game, Metaphor appears to be telling a story of unity, democracy, and giving power to the people who are currently under a monarchy, as well as fighting back against your fears of anxiety. This is very evident in the name of the game, as well as the name of their kingdom. Since our last update, it's been discovered that Metaphor takes its given language from Esperanto, a constructed language for the purpose of giving a common tongue for a unified world to speak and understand each other, playing into the themes of the game. The kingdom, however, while not having a name of Esperanto origin, also plays with this utopian idea. Uchronia is essentially a still evolving modern word, which is used to describe an alternate history, our history, not as it is, but what could have been if various incidents in our timeline never occurred, like the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, for example, reimagining a more positive view of our history, which sounds very similar to the book The Young Prince gave our hero. Words hold a lot of weight in Metaphor's world, and it'll be exciting to see what kind of kingdom the king will create as we reach the game's ending. So in a nutshell, the wandering boy, after being inspired by a fantasy book, decides, hey, I'm going to become president. And he does, I guess. I hope so. But will it be that easy? Of course not. It's an ATLUS game. Of course they're going to throw some curveballs our way, but until we learn more about that, let's talk a little bit about the gameplay, because this trailer gave us a pretty big twist to ReFantazio's world. We now know that yes, Metaphor will be a mix of real-time action and turn-based gameplay. By no means were ATLUS the first to create this, but in this trailer we see him crushing many weak hyenas in an instant, and strike a stunned human being, building up a gauge, then progressing into a turn-based fight. We know from past interviews that the 5th Persona game was going to have a similar system, but was scrapped, so it's wonderful to see it incorporated into Metaphor. We also appear to see a bonus reward of EXP being granted for not receiving any damage, or some other secondary objective, really incentivizing players to perform well before the battle even starts, to stun their foe so they can get that giant EXP reward. It's unclear at the moment if this will factor into the middle of fights or is just the beginning, and how many combos and moves will be granted outside of a turn-based battle. Personally, I love this feature because prior to this trailer, the ATLUS games sort of blended together, but this, I believe, will give Metaphor its own identity, separate from other Atlus games, which is obviously a good thing. On the website, we also see a better look at this major boss fight against a large-scale, egg-shaped human with a bagpipe heart and naked men walking on the brim of its hat. That's genuinely the weirdest sentence I've ever spoken. In this battle, we also see the Tyrant Star peeking out and affecting the battle in some way. Does it debuff the player since the calamity is fast approaching? Or is it just there to give the player a sense of anxiety, knowing that every moment we waste, this ever-looming calamity draws closer and closer? I don't know. Tell me what you think. And on the smaller side, we get a look at the Dealer archetype, which seems to share the archetype of Toraneko Talun of Dragon Quest fame, being an archetype that specializes in using money to deal damage, but also gain favor outside of battles. Maybe during our speeches, we can channel this archetype and tell the populace, like, don't worry, bro. I killed that dragon. I can get us some jobs. I can fix the economy. We also take a look at the archetype tree, which features the Vitruvian man and a bunch of hexagons, which is similar to the mantra tree from Digital Devil Saga 2. I imagine this is where we'll channel our mag to activate new nodes on this archetype tree, gaining things like new skills, bonus stats, and maybe other out-of-combat abilities. So we're running for president of the fantasy world, but we're also trying to be king. Like, that's a little bit of a clash there. And if we are running to be the next ruler, then what about the prince? What if we do cure him? It's like, oh, it took too long, bro. Now I'm king. If we are childhood friends with that guy, I don't think that'll happen. So maybe the true ending deals with, yeah, not only just beating the bad guys and becoming king, but making sure our childhood friend has the right to rule. Overall, there's not a lot of games like this. There are other RPGs where, yeah, you attack the opponent before the battle actually starts. But the humans, the archetypes, the dragons, the enemies, they all look so unique. And I just can't wait to play it. Comes out fall 2024. That is their release window. And yeah, how do you feel about this latest update? Does my theory hold water? I was as thorough as physically possible. Maybe there's something I missed. And if so, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, thank you so much. We'll get a live stream update very, very soon, but last time they did one, no gameplay was shown off. We still don't know if it's press turn or not, but even if it is, I just, dude, give me the game. I gotta play this game. But I think we all feel that way. All right, we'll wrap this up. Until next time, thank you so much. And yeah, see you next time. More videos coming soon. Bye.